Hello dear students, welcome back. In this class we're going to do reading handout 2 with reading text 1, reading text 2 and the graph readings in it. Now I'd like to give you a brief look into reading handout 2. This is how text 1 looks, and there are some multiple questions following it, and there comes text 2 with again some multiple choice questions, and after that comes a vocabulary practice comprised of 14 vocabulary questions, and after these text and the vocabulary practice comes the graph practice with 2 tasks. The first task is about some line graphs, and the second graph is on some pie charts. For this handout, we're going to read the questions first and then find the paragraphs with the answers for these 2 texts. Later, we're going to read 2 descriptive texts and find the graphs that best illustrates the information given in the text. Now, let's start with the first question for the first text. At this point, I would highly recommend you to go over the text first. So you need to go over the paragraph one by one to have an idea about the topic of each paragraph and the main idea of each paragraph. That will help you understand the questions better. So if you have done so, we can continue with the first question. This is question 1 for the first task, and after showing this question to you, I'm going to also show you the related paragraph, that is paragraph A. So now you can stop the video and read the question. Now that you have read the question already, we can continue with the related paragraph, that is paragraph A. While reading the questions, one great tip that I can offer you here is to be attentive to the keywords in the multiple choices here. For this question, the keyword for the first one should be a concern for the environment, right? And for the second one, second choice, another keyword is here is the vacation and in detail, his vacation in detail. And for choice C, the keyword or words would be distant places abroad, right? So in my paragraph, while reading my paragraph A, I'm going to be focusing on these keywords. So now you can pause the video and carefully read the paragraph in the light of the multiple choices for question 1. If you're done reading the paragraph A, you must have an idea about the answer. And now let's check if the answer that you have is correct or not. Remember that this was our question. Which of the following is true according to the paragraph A? In paragraph A, we see that Andrew Sims has made a decision, and this decision was not only driven by a concern for the environment, but also by a desire to travel in a more leisurely way. So he had a concern for the environment. Revisiting our question, we see in choice A that Andrew Sims shows a concern for the environment. So this matches our sentence here. This is the answer for question 1. Choice A is correct. Let's revisit question again to see why choice B and choice C are not correct. For choice for choice B, we see that Andrew Sims prepares his vacation in detail. When you go back to the paragraph in this sentence, we see that his family and Sims spend unplanned days. So their holidays or vacations are not in detail at all. They are unplanned. So choice B is incorrect. Revisiting choice C, it says Andrew Sims generally travels to distant places abroad, far away places abroad. Let's see if this is correct. In the third line here, you see that when Andrew Sims travels on holiday, it's always closer to home, right? It's not far away, but on the opposite side, it is closer. So again, the answer is A for this question. We're going to repeat the same procedure for the following questions. First, we're going to read the question and then the paragraph, related paragraph, and finally, I'm going to show you the key. So if you're ready, we can continue with question 2. Question 2 says, according to paragraph B, the preference for slow travel has led to some. To be able to answer this question, please take notes on these choices. You can now pause the video. Let's go to paragraph second, the second paragraph, that is paragraph B. While carefully reading paragraph B, please remember to take notes on the important points that relate to the multiple choices here. You can now pause the video. Now, if you're ready, let's check the answer key for paragraph B. The correct answer for question 2 is B. Traveling to places tourists do not generally prefer. How do I know this? Let's revisit the paragraph and let me show you how I found it. As we understand from paragraph B, these days tourists are leaning toward slow travel. And as a result of this, these tourists usually travel to places that are not so popular with tourists. And that line, that information here is in line with paragraph B. Traveling to places tourists do not generally prefer are the places that are not popular with tourists. So the answer again for this question is B. In question 3, you are asked to find a sentence that does not fit in paragraph C, a sentence that is unrelated to paragraph C. Now for this, we need to read paragraph C to understand which sentence does not fit there. Let's go to paragraph C. To understand which sentence is an ill-fitting odd sentence, carefully read the paragraph, so pause the video now. Paragraph C starts with this sentence: more and more people are living for vacations. In the first sentence, it gives us the definition of a holiday, what holiday means and how it changed. In the second sentence, that is sentence B, it starts with the word they. They are using up every single vacation day and are bargaining with their employers for even more time to enjoy their travels. So who are they, right? As you can see, they are people and they are these people. And continuing with sentence C, it says, gone are the days when holidays were a predictable part of the year. Today, holidays are considered an essential, non-negotiable part of life. So people consider holidays an essential, non-negotiable part of their lives, right? So this word consider is again seen here in the form of view, another word for consider, right? So we can understand easily that sentence C is in line with the rest of the paragraph here. So we cannot omit C. C needs to stay. And B is again in line with the first sentence because this they here is the same word with people. They and people are the same. However, sentence A talks about what a holiday is and how the concept changed over the years. So this is unrelated to the rest of the paragraph, so we can easily omit it. For this question, the answer key, the answer to question 3 is A. A does not fit paragraph C. We can now continue with question 4. This is question 4. It says, it can be inferred from the text that if a traveler prefers leisurely, in-depth holidays, something happens, right? So now you can continue reading paragraph D to answer this question. At this point, you can pause the video. What we understand from this paragraph is that there is a trend toward leisurely, in-depth holidays. So people these days prefer these kind of holidays to quick kind of attraction visiting holidays because they want to spend time in remote corners of these places and they want to interact with local people and maybe sampling some, they're interested in sampling new customs. So for these people, quality and depth and experience are far more important than crossing out famous spots on a checklist. These famous spots can be, for example, an Eiffel Tower, the Pizza Tower, these kind of places, as they have no intention to show off when they go back home. In line with these lines here, we can now go to the question and see that choice B is the correct choice. The journey itself will be one of the main attractions. So the focus is on the journey, not on the places. This is question 5. Now you can pause the video and read the question carefully. If you finish reading the question, now we can continue with the paragraph where you will find the correct information. Now you can pause the video. Now let's go to the key. In the 4th line of the paragraph, we are told that baby boomers have been traveling since they were teens. They've already seen the great museums of Europe and probably the key monuments of Asia and the plains of Africa. So from these sentences alone, we can easily understand that baby boomers are experienced travelers. So correct choice is A. Question 6 asks us what the function of paragraph E is. Now you can pause the video and read the question carefully. This is paragraph E where you will find the answer for question 6. Now you can pause the video and read the paragraph. If you're done reading this paragraph, now we can continue with the key. As we understand from this paragraph, there are some key vocabulary items that we need to pay attention to. And here in line 3, you can see that the sentence says, developing world tourists are still trying to afford the traditional one-week package tour. However, there are signs that our more leisurely travel is becoming popular even in emerging markets. And again, there is this keyword about urban Chinese people. And again, we are given the information that these people are doing taking these package tours because they want to overcome the stress and they want to find some facilities as health spas. So from all these vocabulary key vocabulary items, we can understand that previously, slower holidays were known to be only a Western phenomenon, but these days, the developing world tourists are also leaning towards the idea of a slower holiday. For this reason, the function of paragraph E is choice C. So paragraph E emphasizes that developing world tourists, such as tourists from China, as you can see here, have also started to prefer slower holidays. We can now continue with question 7. To carefully read the question 7, you can now pause the video. If you have read question 7 carefully, here is your paragraph F. Now you can pause the video and carefully read the paragraph. Because you read the paragraph carefully already, now we can visit the key. So the answer key for this question 7 is C. According to paragraph F, traditional holidays will be better designed to accommodate slow travel. So they're going to be redesigned to answer the needs of slow travel. Okay, so if you go to paragraph F, you will see that in 3rd line it says that traditional holidays will continue to evolve, continue to change, and they will become more personalized and in-depth, right? So in other words, the traditional holidays will be better designed to accommodate slow travel. Then the question is, why not A or B, right? So as you can see here, in the first lines, we are given the information that the number of new travelers are expected to grow even faster, bigger, right? So visiting our question back, in choice A, it told us that the number of new travelers would decrease. Well, decrease is the opposite of grow even faster, right? Almost the opposite of it. So choice A is therefore incorrect. Revisiting choice B, it says there is a sense of urgency for people to see places of interest as soon as possible. So let's see if there is a sense of urgency for people. In this line, in the last line, the writer says, oh well, there's always next time. Well, if you say there's always next time, you are not in a hurry, right? You don't care if it is now. Because the writer doesn't seem to be in a hurry, so we can easily say that there is no sense of urgency in contrast to what's said in choice B. So correct choice is choice C. Well, you made it to the end of this text 1. Well done. Now we're going to continue with text 2 of the reading handout. Again, let me give you a brief outline for text 2. Again, we're going to review the questions. We're going to read the questions, and we're going to read the related paragraphs to the questions. And finally, I'm going to share with you the answer key. So we can now continue with question 1. In question 1, we're given the question, which of the following is not true according to paragraph A? So carefully read the multiple choices here. You can pause the video now. This is paragraph A. To be able to carefully read the paragraph, you can now pause the video. Let's move on with the answer key. When you read the paragraph, you see that at this point, we are given the information that about 5 million will die of diseases related to malnutrition. So they will die in the future because of malnutrition, right? However, when you go to the question in choice A, it gives us the information that every year about 5 million people die. So in contrast to what is said here, which is a reference to a future, in the choice A, we're given that it happens every year. So this is incorrect information according to that paragraph. So choice A is correct. So let's analyze why choice B and C are incorrect. At the beginning of the paragraph, the writer tells us that we in the West are preoccupied with cloning sheep, pigs, and of course ourselves. And here in choice B, it says that Western scientists seem to be more interested in cloning animals than modifying crops genetically. So we know that choice B is correct according to the information in the paragraph. And again, going back to the paragraph, we see that it is estimated that rice production will have to increase by about 30% in the next 20 years to keep pace with population growth. In parallel to what's said in the paragraph, the choice C repeats the same information. It says in the next 2 decades, population growth will make it compulsory for an increase in rice production. As you can see, the paragraph also said that they expect a 30% increase in rice production. So this is also correct. Now we can continue with question 2. This is question 2. In question 2, we are asked this. It can be understood from paragraph B that the Green Revolution involves one of these. So now you can pause the video to be able to carefully read the question. This is rather a long paragraph. Make notes on the necessary points. Now you can pause the video. As you can see in paragraph B, the Green Revolution is defined as increasing crop yields through a mixture of seed improvement and technological inputs. This is Green Revolution. So this will take us to the correct information, which is choice B, increasing yields by improving seeds, as also expressed in here, increasing crop yields is the same as in choice B, increasing yields by improving seeds with the help of technology. So B is the correct answer. Now we can continue with question 3. In question 3, we are asked about the biggest difficulty facing the future of farming. What is that? So now you can pause the video to carefully read the choices. Now that you have read the choices, we can continue with reading paragraph B. You can now pause the video. Let's continue with the key to that question. As you understand from this paragraph, here we are given that the challenge for the future is to increase yields in more faraway and dry lands. So let's go back to our question and find the choice that relates to this information. So in here, choice A, we are given that the biggest difficulty facing the future of farming is to increase yields in distant and unused lands. So the distant and unused lands, these words can be also seen in these lines in the words far away and dry lands, right? So for this question, the correct information, so the correct choice is choice A. Time for question 4. According to the result of the 2005 study conducted by the Chinese, in farms where GM rice was planted, what happened? So now analyze these choices one by one, and then you can read the paragraph C carefully. So I'm stopping for you here. You can pause the video and try to find the correct answer. Here is paragraph C for you to read and find the answer. You can now pause the video. Continuing with the answer key, as you can see from these lines, as shown in a 2005 study, there was a 10% increase in yield. And this was suggested in choice C, which says there was an increase in yields in agricultural production. So correct answer for this question is choice C. And here's your question 5. It can be concluded from paragraph C that the International Rice Genome Sequencing Project proved that... So what is the correct answer? A, B, or C? Now read the question carefully again with the choices. You can now pause the video. Here's again paragraph C. This time you will look for the answer for question 5. Now please pause the video. As you can understand from the concluding sentences of paragraph C, an international collaborative work of science will benefit the entire world. So from this line, these two lines alone, we can understand that international teamwork in science could help the whole world. So choice B is correct for this question. The question 6 asks this: where in paragraph D does the following sentence belong? And the sentence is, the population explosion occurred, but the famine didn't. So where does this sentence go in paragraph D? Is it going here, here, or here? So now you can pause the video and read the sentence again carefully. If you have already done so, now you can carefully read the paragraph and try to find where that sentence goes here. In this paragraph, we understand that there is a criticism made by some aid organizations on GM technology. They call it a technical fix, right? So these people also said that the same a few decades ago when widespread famine was predicted to follow a population explosion. And our focus sentence says the population explosion occurred, but the famine didn't. Going back to the paragraph, the reason for what? Of course, the reason why the population explosion occurred, but a famine didn't, was that pioneering plant breeders. So as you can easily understand here, the sentence, the population explosion occurred, but the famine didn't, should go right here where B is. So correct choice for this question is B. Continuing with question 7, according to paragraph D, eight organizations criticize those who favor GM technology because they think what? So now read the choices carefully and pause the video for that. This is again paragraph D. Now you can decide where the correct information lies in this paragraph. So pause the video now. We already talked about the criticism made by many aid organizations, and according to this criticism, the technical fix that the GM offers, the GM technology offers, does little to address the real social and economic causes of world poverty and hunger. From this reference to world poverty and hunger, we can understand that GM technology is criticized because the aid organizations think it does not deal with the real causes of the problem, and the problem can be world hunger or poverty, right? So choice C is correct. Here's the next question, question 8. The tone of the author in paragraph E is mostly one of these adjectives here. So what do you think the correct answer is? Now let's continue with paragraph E. Carefully read it. You can now pause the video. Continuing with the key, let's now first look at the meanings of these adjectives first. So what does indifferent mean? Indifferent means someone who is not interested in a topic, in a particular topic, right? Or someone who doesn't care for something peculiar, special. You can imagine a cat in your mind. A cat is indifferent to what's going on around them. And optimistic, we have the we know this word. If you are a Turkish speaker, it means positive thinking. If you are an optimist, you think positively, right? And critical is when you say someone or something is bad or wrong, right? So now that we know the meanings of these words, we can understand that the tone of the writer is optimistic, because when you go to the last lines, you can see that the writer thinks the release of the rice genome sequence places a powerful toolkit in the hands of researchers who are eager to improve crop yields. So he has a positive look on this matter. Therefore, choice B, optimistic, is correct for this question. For question 9, we're going to choose the most suitable title for the text. Now read the title options in choices A, B, and C, and you can pause the video now. To be able to find a suitable title for this text, we need to have an overall understanding of what the text is all about, right? So I'm going to take you back to paragraph A. As you can see, the paragraph A starts with the importance of rice, and it's again continues with this statement where it says rice is the staple food, very important food crop for about 3 billion people, mostly in Asia. And in the last paragraph, paragraph E, it says about 1.2 million people live on less than $1 a day, and that dollar usually buys rice. So these people heavily depend on rice. And however, the crop, what's this crop? Of course, it is rice again. So it continues talking about the rice. So from this information, we can say that the best title for this paragraph is choice C, the most important crop in the world, rice. Choice C is correct. So guys, very well done. Again, you completed text 2. We can continue with the paragraph tasks, graph readings right now. Let's dive into that. For the graph paragraphs, again, we're going to read questions and related graphs for that, and I'm going to share the answer key for these graphs. Let's see how these graphs look. Again, in this graph practice, we're going to read the questions, the related graphs, and I'm going to share the key with you. So let's dive into these practices. And this is task 1. In this task, you're asked which paragraph best illustrates the information given in the text. At this point, I suggest you to read the information given in the paragraph and scroll through the graphs one by one to check if the information given in these lines and these sentences are correct for each of these choices. So now let's do that together. The line graphs here shows the money that digital music industries in Holland, Sweden, Spain, and France earned between 2012 and 16 in millions of euros. Let's check if we are given the information for 4 of these countries and the year period is also correct in these choices. So I'm continuing with choice A and see that there are 4 countries, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they are each shown with a different shape, and the same here, and the time periods are also from 2012 to 2016. So this information in the first paragraph is correct for this task. And for paragraph 2, in the first line, we are given the fact that during this period, the money that digital music industry in Holland earned increased from almost 60 million to over 140 million. Let's check if these numbers correlate to the numbers that are given in the graphs here. So checking the first graph, country Holland is shown with a square here. This is where I'm looking at, this line with square. So it started with 60, and at the end of 2016, it rose to over 140 million. Yeah, millions of euros. So this is correct. Choice A seems correct. Now let's continue with choice B. It started again at 60 for Holland and it rose to right below 140, right? So this line for Holland does not seem correct. So we can easily eliminate choice B. Checking choice C, Holland started at 60 and rose to over 140 million. So we are left with choice A and choice C. B is out of the question here. So again, continuing with the information given in the paragraph here, it says that the increase in Sweden was similar to the increase in Holland until 2014. As in Holland, it rose from 60 million to 80 million in 2014. Let's see if this is correctly given or illustrated in the graphs as well. So we're looking for country Sweden. It's shown with a dot here. So I'm looking at this dot here. In Sweden, like in Holland, it started at 60 and until 2014, it rose to 80 million. Well, for graph A, it seems to be correct. So let's go to graph C if that information is correct. It started at 60, however, in 2014, the line started to drop from 70 somethings to below levels, right? So again, as you can see, this information is incorrect because of the numbers shown for Sweden here. So we are left with choice A as the winner of this question. So that is correct answer, choice A. We can easily continue with the next task 2 right now. In task 2, we are given some pie charts and we are asked these questions. Which graph best illustrates the information given in the text? So let's read out the information. The pie charts compare the Illinois state government spending in 1978 and 2014 in percentages. So let's see if this information is correct in all of these. Yeah, in first choice, it's again from 1978, 2014, 78, 2014, 78, 2014. Well, this information will usually not lead us to a false illustration in the graphs, bar graphs, whatever it is, but still let's be on the safe side. And going to the second paragraph, according to the charts, Illinois state government spent the greatest part of their budget on education in 1978. So I'm going to be looking at the piece of pie that is related to education, and it should be the biggest part for education in 1978. In choice A, I'm looking for education. Education is here. This is the checkered part for education, and it's on 20%. And the biggest percentage, however, is this 25% for general governing. So education was not the greatest part of the budget for this year in Illinois. I can easily eliminate this choice from the answers. Now let's check if part B, choice B, is correct. Education is at 35% here. 35% here. The percentage is really high, and in the remaining ones it is lower than that. So B can be our winner. However, let's check for C to make sure that we are right about that. Again, the education is 35%, so they are both the same. We cannot eliminate any of these. We need to continue reading the questions here. Sorry, the paragraph here. The following sentence tells us that spending on education decreased to 15% in 2014. Let's see. In choice B, in 2014, if the education dropped to 15%, that is correct. And in 2014, for choice C, it is also correct. Now I'm going to continue with the next sentence. Another decrease was in human services. It made up almost 1/5 of the total spending in 1978, but it dropped to 12% in 2014. Let's check if this information is correct. We're looking for transportation in both years. In choice B, you see that it was at 12% and it went down to 8%, as in choice C. Continuing with the next part, on the other hand, spending on general governing and medical services increased. We're checking general governing and medical services in both places. We see that it was at 21%, and in 2014 it rose to 35%. And for choice C, we also that it was again at 21% and rose to 39%. So they are correct. Continuing with the next sentence, spending on general governing made up nearly 1/5 of the total spending in 1978, whereas the proportion reached almost 40% in 2014. As you can see, general governing was at 21%, so this is almost 1/5 of the overall percentage here. And when it was in 2014, it rose to 35. And for choice C, again, it was again around 1/5 of the total spending. And in 2014, it reached to 39%. So 39% looks closer to 30% than this number here, 35 here, right? So C seems to be the likely winner for us, but to make sure, we're going to continue reading out the paragraph. And in the last sentence, it says the proportion of medical services was over 10%, and it almost doubled in 2014. Check in medical services in choice B. Medical services was at 12% in 1978, and when it was 2014, it rose to 32%. So it almost tripled, right? Not doubled, but tripled. So doubled would be 24%. So B gives us some incorrect information here. Let's check if it is true for C. Well, medical services was at 12% and it rose to 23%, almost doubled. So C is our correct choice here. It becomes our winner at this point. So this was rather a long video, guys. Thank you for your patience, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye.